Thank you, Ollie. And thank you for joining in on this talk when you have a lot of other options, around this whole expo. And I hope that what you learn through this talk will in some way help you on your own journeys as you're going through different stages of growth in your careers or even personal lives. So this is a high-level, hopefully inspirational talk. But to start, 2 years ago, nobody would have asked me to speak on this subject. I am a tax accountant by trade. I was advising clients about taking their UK businesses abroad, specifically to the US. And I guess it was just a typical career progression as an accountant. And a year ago was, the first major step I took to kind of change what I realized I was lacking at my job and what I felt was missing in my life, to make a bold change and actually follow my dream, have the courage to do something different at a stage when it gets very comfortable, you get paid well, there are things I was able to enjoy from my job, but there was a hole. And it took me, so a year ago I launched a business which was, it's called Grow Great Britain, and it is set up to still help businesses that are looking to expand internationally, but in a different way than I was doing as a tax advisor. So I've taken the skills from that and transformed them into now something that I love doing. And I realized over this last year, the best thing about doing this is the amount of personal development, learning that has happened to me over the last year that I was lacking beforehand. I work every day really hard, but nothing feels like work. I believe in what I'm doing, and I have a purpose, and all of those things make me actually feel alive and happy to be going down this path. And to me, that is a key thing about growth. So I'm going to introduce this talk, or kind of, format it around my slides, which are going to include pictures of animals, and specifically my dogs, but there's a couple of reasons for that we'll go through, and then we'll actually go through the simple messages that I think that the pictures illustrate. And of course, if you have any questions, just let me know, and hopefully you'll get something out of this. Okay, so this is Aspen, my St. Bernard, and you may wonder, what that actually has to do with growth, besides the obvious. So I don't know if you can see, but there's a little picture. That's her as a puppy, and she has clearly grown. And when I got her 8 weeks old, she was about 12 pounds, and she grew 3 pounds every week until she became her full size, which you see here, of closer to 140, 145 pounds. So I guess in the sense of growth that we use numerical measurements, it's obvious why St. Bernard would be relevant. What's perhaps less relevant is she is remarkable, and not just because I say that, but most St. Bernards live 8 to 10 years, and this isn't going to be a talk just about the history of St. Bernards, I promise. We will move along very quickly. Live about 8 to 10 years, and at Aspen, I got her in 2003, just after graduating uni. I lived in Florida at the time, and she moved with me and a second dog to London in 2007. And I think there's something we can learn from remarkable things or exceptional things or things that are outside of the norm. So that's another reason. And I guess, to me, the most, important reason for feeling confident to give this talk on growth is that it's a personal growth story for me and kind of the situation we're going through. And this isn't going to be a sad story, but as the vet says, she is just old and nearing the end of her life, and you need to come to prepare for that. It's a challenge I don't want to face now. But talking to you about it, 3 days ago I couldn't say her name without sort of becoming overcome with emotion just because of everything. So talking to you about it, you're actually helping me grow, and you're sort of witnessing this now, so thank you. And finally, if you can't hear a word I say or days out, hopefully you'll learn something just from looking at the pictures and get your own inspiration. So with that, we will carry on. This is Aspen about 4 months old, and every time I look at that picture, I am reminded of a different sort of big life lesson. And I suppose the one I've illustrated here is to go out and be curious. And how that relates to my story is actually why I'm standing here right now. When I first started, I was eager to learn new things. I wanted to go to events, to learn things I didn't know about before, meet people that I hadn't have thought about meeting before. And there was a event about alternative finance sources. And crowdfunding is obviously one of the key ones that everyone should know about if they're going to start a business and hopefully find a way to make work for them one day. So by chance, back in April of this year, I went to that event and I met one of the CrowdShed employees just by chance of being in the same lift when we went up to go to the event. And the lesson that I learned there is that you'd never be open to new opportunities. And now 7 months later, that one chance meeting in a lift has brought me to here, and I know for sure that my relationship with the CrowdShed team and the CrowdShed platform is only going to continue to grow. That's just one simple example. So go out there and do things that you're interested in learning more about, because you never know what opportunity may arise. This picture to me, so that's my second dog. It's not a miniature Saint Bernard, but to me this signifies that you need to set realistic expectations. As you do start a business or start any journey, people are going to challenge you. They're going to ask you questions to gauge your growth based on standards that they set. How many employees do you have? What was your turnover last year? What is the position of your balance sheet as of a certain date? How much funding have you raised so far? And if you ask me those questions about my business today, which I would rank very low, I suppose, in all those categories, but the reality is I've grown more this year than my entire however many years combined, it feels like. And the point is, only you can set what you think are the realistic measurements of your own growth, not what somebody else says is growth. Of course, you can use those to figure out, how you set them or what you think you want and to be capable of achieving, but don't limit yourself to thinking you're not growing if you're not meeting other people's definitions of growth. If Polly judged growth by trying to get as big as Aspen, like she would just be a failure her entire life, and clearly she's grown, in other ways. Use your natural talents. This might be obvious for some people, but when you first start out, if you can identify your key strengths, the things that you are good at, that you could spend hours that just go by and not realize time has passed, the things that make you happy, and focus on doing those. It might sound cliche, but understanding your strengths and your skill sets will allow you to focus on those, and it will put you miles ahead for that first time that an unwanted obstacle appears, and it'll actually be the only way, I think, that you'll be able to be successful about what you're trying to achieve, to sort of work out those things as early as possible. There's different profiling and psychometric testing tools you can do. If you're interested in that, I'd be happy to share some links with you, like the McQuaig Word Survey is one. And of course, Myers-Briggs and things. And some of these things are available for free online. You can just kind of get an assessment. And then just because a report says something, again, measure that against what you actually feel. So if something comes out, it doesn't make sense to you, then go with your instinct and just use it as a tool, not as a definitive, I guess, measure of how you therefore need to run the rest of your life. She hasn't saved me from any avalanches, but she has helped me find my way on a number of occasions. Take care of yourself. Again, this may sound very obvious, but especially for me anyway, when I first started out, I hit the ground running, and I had something, and I guess have something to prove to myself. I wanted to be able to do something as quickly as possible and accomplish as much as possible in as little time as possible. And like I said, when you are doing things that you love, it's the passion that will fuel you, and you might not need to sleep 7 or 8 hours a night. You might be able to get by on 4 hours or even less, or you might be able to just have your lunch at your desk and just kind of put blockers on to the rest of the world. And I did do that, and it felt good at the time. And you'll especially for entrepreneurs, because work and life can get so commingled that I've now learned, over a year now, that I need to take those breaks. I need to take care of myself, and that will make my work that much better. And it's not a race. Again, not to be another cliche, but it's the journey, and it's kind of how you play how you participate in the race. Not always the fastest one is going to be the best one. Although, kind of in saying that, of course, there are opportunities sometimes that do require you to hit the ground running. But get plenty of rest. Go out, have fun with your friends. Make sure you exercise and just kind of take care of yourself, because if you don't, then no one else will. So I hope everyone here at some stage has big plans of how they're going to give back to the world once they feel able or have more resources to give. But the point here that I wanted to make, based on, I guess, this picture, is that you don't overestimate the amount of effort it takes to actually make a difference in someone else's life. Sometimes all you have to do, like, other people will recognize in you how you could potentially help them, and they'll reach out to you and they'll ask you for things. So my tip for your own growth and to help and to promote the growth of others is to just say yes more often. And it might not seem like a big deal to you. Aspen couldn't be bothered that she was sleeping in the back seat of a car, and Polly was using her as a booster to see out the window. Like, it's just not. There's a lot of small things you can do to make a big difference to other people. So don't. So yes, say yes more often to people who ask for help. And most importantly, have fun and enjoy the journey. Pause, reflect, go out and look around you, and realize that if you are following your passion and trying to achieve something that you didn't think was possible beforehand, it's very likely that there's a bigger purpose for why you in your particular business are doing that has an impact greater than yourself. It'll make a longer, perhaps bigger impact on the world. So try to enjoy it. And I guess and to conclude, in a way, the absolute thing I guess I know for certain, or the best advice and most honest advice I can give based on again, these are just based on my experience and reflection on where I've come over the last year in particular, but my lifetime so far, is over the next 12 months, your plans will not go as you have intended or will intend. You will set out to achieve things that you will not achieve in the way you think you're going to achieve them. Things will happen that you do not want to happen, and you will not always feel prepared for life's situations. And that may sound like not such good news, but it's actually great news. And I would say those are the opportunities where you're going to be able to reach out and become a better version of yourself. Again, I hate using things that have been said too many times, but you'll understand things about yourself when you go through those toughest challenges that are going to help prepare you for the next ones yet to come. And it's those moments that it may not seem like it at the time, but they will help guide you and prepare you for future growth. will evolve. Your plans will evolve, change. Everything around you will always be changing, and it's how you deal with the obstacles that come your way. It's not anything to be afraid of or to hold you back. You should actually be very excited when they come your way and use it to propel you forward, and know that without that, well, because of that, you will have growth and you will be living. And so hopefully that is more inspirational than frightening, because that's how it was intended. And if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to talk more, and whether kind of this theoretical, big, high-level sense of growth, or even if you're looking to grow your business perhaps overseas, or just need that more technical advice on marketing or social media or tax or attorneys and immigration, I'd be happy to talk to you about that too. So thank you very much to CrowdShed. Like I said, there will be an opportunity, either if not in your businesses, then in people's you know. So spread the word. There's lots of good things happening. It's about the people contributing and making a difference by funding some of these projects. That's really going to change the world. So thank you.